Guest about to come on. We have Grace Venus. How are you, Grace?
I'm good.
Welcome.
Thanks.
Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
How's the conference going so far for you?
It's good. I really enjoyed the Ripple guys. It was a really inspiring interview that they just did. It was great information.
Now you are, I should mention, president of Venus Research and Development.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're at a conference like this, where obviously you see a lot of brands, different stages of their sort of life cycle, from the very big companies to just emerging ones, sort of what do you look for when you come to the conference? What are you sort of checking for and interested in?
I come here mostly for networking. It's really great to see a lot of my clients and suppliers. I spend most of my time in a lab. I don't get to see a lot of people, so this is sort of one of those opportunities, just like Expo West for me, where I get to, put names to faces. A lot of times I've never met my clients, so sometimes I get to actually meet them at events like this.
And you've worked on product formulations for, I don't know how many beverage products now.
I've had my own consulting business for about 13 years now, and I usually manage about 15 clients at a time, most of them for many years.
So hundreds is probably a safe number at this point.
I've definitely formulated for hundreds of brands. Not all of them have made it all the way to the shelf.
So I guess, you mentioned Ripple Foods, which is something that is pretty interesting in that they've effectively, I guess, reverse engineered milk, right?
Yeah, it was very interesting.
What's sort of your take on that, given, your background? How do you feel about something like that?
I would just love it if my clients had that kind of funding to do it. It takes a lot of money, and most of my clients don't come to me with a lot of money. I really do help people on a little bit more of a bootstrap budget, and we work a lot with concept and getting to that concept, and sometimes after that, we do find the money to really put a lot in there, but you can't do that without a pretty significant budget and a really great background that they brought.
So what kind of trends do you see, though, with the clients that you work with? What should we expect next year? Since we're asking that question, it seems.
Quite a few people have been mentioning sparkling. That's definitely what I work a lot on, and I think the trend is just going to really, really continue to grow. Spindrift has done an amazing job, and I think that a lot of other people are going to try and innovate on that. Continue with the lower calorie directions with or without other sweeteners, and really sexy flavor directions. A lot of them are going to be sparkling.
And obviously, mentioned sweetness is a big topic. Obviously, people are looking to reduce sugar, but they don't want to lose the sweetness. How are you sort of advising clients on how should they approach that problem and sort of be able to keep the sweetness without adding more sugar?
Virtually everyone asks me that question. It's probably what I work on now for 90% of my clients, either starting off trying to be low sweetener or coming to me after we've already launched a couple years down the line. We try and lower things. There's kind of two different ways of looking at it. There's a way to look at it where it's just simply a lower sugar product, similar to this, the Spindrift seltzers or LaCroix, is what people are, starting to get more used to, just the idea of having less sugar in their palate. At the same time, people like sweetness. It's what wins over taste panels. It's what people tend to keep on buying, for sure. So when they ask me that, I usually say there's a few different ways of looking at it. I like to blend. There's very few times where you can just lower sugar or you can just add stevia. I think that blending a little erythritol with a little stevia is great, or a little cane sugar with a little tiny bit of juice. Try and get that 20 to 40 calories is pretty, it's a nice sweet spot.
Just finding that balance, I think, is kind of what it comes down to, right?
Another key component is really what flavor you're putting with it. If you're going for something really acidic, it is very hard to lower the sugar. So finding something that's a balance between, say, two flavors. One of them is a little sweeter, one of them is a little tartar. So not all flavors will have the same sweetener balance. Grapefruit works really well with some lower sweeteners, but say strawberry needs a little bit more sweetener. So it really does play into what flavor you decide to do, what SKU you're going for, and base the sweetener off of what that actual flavor of that SKU is going to be.
And I guess as far as you were saying, I don't know if you said sexy flavors or something like that. I don't know, what sort of actual flavors do you see people looking for nowadays? I mean, is it more basic stuff, or is there some new, I don't know, the new pomegranate or something like that? What are you saying?
What I see is a blend between, and what I advise people on is typically a blend between a sexy flavor and something that people are really familiar with. I thought that the Shaka tea actually did a really good job with that, blending, say, mint with mango. Everybody loves mango. Pomegranate is really popular, but if you say do a pomegranate rose, that way you're not scaring off the core consumers, the people that shop a little bit more middle America, but you're also intriguing those people that are interested in seeing something new and refreshing.
Gotcha.
And if you have a client, say for example, who is committed to, say, using cane sugar or real sweetener, what how would you advise them to, what is the sort of upper limit, or what is like the, no pun intended, sweet spot for the right amount of sugar if you're going to choose to include it in the drink?
We definitely try to aim for less than 10 grams per bottle. That seems to be a sweet spot. That's where a lot of buyers tend to argue things a little bit more once they see it go over 10 grams. With some of the new laws that are coming in, no matter what, we're going to start seeing added sugar on the front of panels, and that's so any sugar is going to be quite challenging, and we're going to have to maneuver that as things move and people are actually changing their packaging to all match up.
Right. I mean, how big of a concern is that for you in the future? I mean, we're seeing the the sugar taxes passed in a few cities just about a month ago. There's rumors that more may follow if they're effective in the prior cases. So does that sort of weigh on your mind at all, or do you have to adjust your strategy?
It definitely does. I'm going to be learning along with some of my clients. I don't really know how it's going to play out, and I do think once everybody is a little bit more on an even keel with what they're all doing on their labels, but we're all going to be changing at different times, and there's going to be a little bit of a mishmash time going on, and I am a little worried about it. It's going to be a lot of work.
And what about on the functionality end of things? Just to kind of touch on one other area that always has kind of important trends going on. What types of products are you seeing people looking to do? Is it more energy? Is it, I don't know, something new?
Energy and protein. Those are really key still. Everybody still loves to have energy in their products. Those are not going away, whether or not it's mate or green tea or green coffee bean. I work with a lot of energy, and definitely plant-based proteins. A lot of paleo people looking for protein, which is not an easy product to work with, but people keep on asking, and there keeps on. I am consistently getting better and better plant-based proteins sent into the lab, so that is refreshing, at least.
Interesting stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you mentioned that that some of the other protein and some of the other things that are going in there. What about probiotics? We've seen, Kavita obviously was a recent big headline there. I think Tropicana recently did a probiotic infused orange juice. Mm-hmm. Do you see that continuing to grow? Is there enough there to really build?
Oh, I don't think that's going to go away. I think it's been strong for quite a while, and I don't think it's going anywhere.
Another thing too is clean energy that we're seeing at least in the marketing of some energy drinks, sort of that becoming more prominent, using things like you mentioned, like matcha and some of these other stuff. Mm-hmm. That seems like to continue to grow as well.
Certainly. Yeah, everybody's always looking for something a little bit different, and what I've realized is that different energy works for different people, for sure. Coffee bean extract does not work for everyone. Mate doesn't work for everyone. I think there's going to be a trend of numerous different ones because everybody's kind of figuring out what makes them feel good. And we have a lot of options now.
Awesome.
Well, thank you very much for your time. I guess I'm swapping out with Ray here too,
great.
so we'll both exit off the stage.
Yeah. Okay,
here.
thanks,
So
guys.
We'll do a little swap.